Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Michelle Brown with Leading Educators with your Week 4, Day 16 Distance Learning lesson. Yesterday, we completed a close read of this week's article, Quality of Life Indicators. Today, we'll be focusing on academic vocabulary and our comprehension of the text. So remember, always, it's important to share your learning, complete the weekly fluency activity, and do at least 20 minutes of additional reading of a text of your choice after completing the lesson activities for the day. Now it's time for our riddle of the day. Today's riddle is actually a pictogram puzzle. These are sometimes called word puzzles or rebus puzzles. What you'll do is look at the image on the screen and think about a word or phrase that the image represents. I'll give you 15 seconds to think about it before I show you the answer. Okay, let's see if you got it figured out. The answer is think outside the box, right? I'm pretty excited about these picture puzzles. I think they're really fun. But yeah, you got the word think. We've got a box. Think is outside of the box. Think outside the box. Get it? And this is something, of course, that we have to do, whether it's when we're solving riddles or reading complex texts. We have to do a little bit of thinking outside the box to really make meaning. So, our brains are warm. Let's get started. Let's make sure that you have what you need. The materials that you need are listed on your lesson, and they're also displayed on your screen here. So you're going to need Lesson 18, that's on page 55 of the packet, the note catcher, that's on page 56, and of course the text. That's in pages 45 through 48. You will also need something to write with. To quickly refresh our memory of this week's focus, we're going to continue our study of the Quality of Life Indicators article, keeping our two guiding questions in mind. What is needed in order for each of us to have a good quality of life? And how's our life's destiny determined by the quality of our lives? And here's our learning target for today. We'll read it together. I can use close reading annotation and analysis skills to master unfamiliar vocabulary and make the words a part of my personal word bank for future. Today we will continue our close reading of the text with a focus on how governments measure quality of life. Your discussion today will focus on how quality of life is determined by both individuals and societies. And you'll end by reviewing vocabulary words from the week and writing an answer to a comprehension question. Now that you have an idea of what to expect in our lesson today, let's get started. Your first task will be to closely reread the article to determine how governments feel about quality of life. Most of what you're going to need to actually answer this question is in the Types of Quality of Life Indicators section, so focus your reading there. Pause the video and do that now. When you return, I'm going to show you some of the notes that I made in this section. Welcome back. When rereading this section, I saw that I had already highlighted a few things during my first read. This time around, I also underlined these sentences in blue. National governments tend to look at economic indicators such as employment, income, gross domestic product, and cost of living. I also underlined, local governments, on the other hand, might be more interested in the public life of residents. These sentences show the reader the differences in how quality of life is measured by national and local government. What I learned about the way national governments feel about quality of life is that they are more interested in indicators that show how well the economy is doing, employment rates, average income, GDP, cost of living. They must feel that the economy is the best predictor of a nation's quality of life. On the other hand, local governments are more interested in indicators that have to do with people's everyday lives. How many books are being checked out of libraries, whether students are graduating from high school, and if many people are volunteering to help the community. Your close reading annotations may not have looked exactly like this, and that's okay. Hopefully, looking at my notes will help you as we move through the rest of the lesson. Next, I'd like you to think about why governments seem to place less value on individual opinions and give more consideration to objective or fact-based data. Is it simply easier, or maybe it's more accurate to rely on facts over opinion? So whether you're analyzing literature or informational texts, it's important to be able to recognize the difference between a fact and an opinion. A fact is a statement that can be proven to be true. An opinion is a stated preference or idea, which may vary from source to source or person to person. There are some clues you can keep in mind when determining whether something is a fact or an opinion. So, for example, numbers often signify facts, and this can come in the form of statistics or percentages. Opinions are going to have more signal words such as point of view, think, prefer, or guess. Let's look at the facts and opinions in our text. We're going to start by taking a look at paragraph 5. Objective evaluations come from data, which are facts, rather than people's opinions. To figure out how safe people feel walking home at night, an objective evaluation might look at the crime rate in that area. A subjective one might put out a survey asking people how safe they feel. The author is contrasting two ways to figure out how safe people feel walking home at night. One is a fact, and one is opinion-based. To measure this objectively using facts, you would use the crime rate. To measure this subjectively based on opinions, you could use a survey asking people how safe they feel. Now let's look at paragraph 6. Government leaders making policies and laws should use both subjective and objective evaluations. They must ask people in studies if they feel safe and healthy, while also looking at statistics that show whether they actually are safe and healthy. Both affect the quality of people's lives. However, subjective evaluations are often given less importance. So now you're going to pause the video and try to answer this question. Which of these are an example of fact in this paragraph, and which is an example of an opinion? So pause the video and think about how you would answer that question. Okay, hope you've had a chance to think about it. So now let's take a look. So asking people in studies if they feel safe and healthy, that's an example of collecting opinions. On the other hand, looking at statistics that show whether that people actually are safe and healthy, that would be an example of using facts. So now it's time for you to pause the video one more time and think about the question from the think part of your lesson plan. Think about why governments seem to place less value on individual opinions or subjective evaluations. Why do they value those less than objective or fact-based data? Is it simply easier or more accurate to rely on facts over opinion? Write your notes in the margins of your text. Pause the video now and respond to that think question. Welcome back. Your thinking should have prepared you for the discussion that you're getting ready to have. Now, with a family member, caregiver, or friend, I'd like you to explain how quality of life is determined by a combination of individuals and societies. You can use specific examples from the text to make the conversation more interesting. Before you have your discussion, I'll go over your writing tasks with you. So once you finish your discussion, you'll be in a good place to complete your writing tasks for today. First, you're going to revisit the concept vocabulary from lesson 15 and review your rankings. Remember, we rank the words from 1 to 5 depending on how familiar you were with them. Now that you've seen the words being used in context, you've read the text, have your rankings changed? Maybe there are some words that now you feel a lot more comfortable with. I'd like you to select 3 of the words and write a sentence with each of them in your note catcher. Next, you'll move on to the comprehension question. Which do governments tend to value more? Subjective, opinion-based, or objective, fact-based evaluations, and why? Your thinking and talking activities today will really help you answer this question. As always, if you get stuck and need some help, you can reach out directly to your English teacher via email using the format that you can see here. In our next lesson, we're going to continue our analysis of the text, focusing specifically on the concept of gross domestic product and on the health indicators discussed in the article. We've come to the end of another video. Until next time, remember, don't forget to talk about your lesson with someone. Read 20 minutes and complete a reading log entry. And of course, you can find the reading log at the front of your packet. And please, please, please practice your reading fluency using the first or second page of your weekly reading. Enjoy your learning, and I'll see you soon.